Hey folks, today I'm going to be talking about Chicago Blues Shuffle in A. So this is a 12-bar blues based around three chords, the 1, 4, 5, and the one chord being A, the two chord being D, or the four chord, sorry, and then the five chord being E. And in a blues progression, in this 12-bar blues, in any blues really, the foundation of blues is mixing major and minor. And we're going to get into that today and go into detail of how you can use this major and minor element, and also some licks that you can use over this 1, 4, 5 progression. So let's get into it. So like I said, in this 12-bar blues progression, we have three chords. We have the A, then we have the D, and then we have the E. So those are the three chords that we're going to basically be using. And in this progression, I think every blues kind of has its own approach, dictated to the kind of the feel, the tempo of the song, and the approach to what you want to as far as phrasing and speed and stuff like that. So the way that this progression goes for this Chicago Blues Shuffle is you're basically playing like a power chord. So down here you're going to have your power chord with the fifth string open, first finger on the second fret, fourth string, which is an E. So you're playing this E power chord, but you're also going to be using your third finger to play the shuffle on the fourth fret, fourth string on the D string, and using what's called the sharp sixth, and that is going to be going. So the A chord goes for 4 bars, and you drop down one string and you do the same thing, and this is going to be over the D chord. So 4 string open and the first finger on the second fret of the G string, and then your third finger does that shuffle on the sixth of the chord, which is the B. And then you come back to the A for 2 bars. And then you go to the E, so now your first finger is on the fifth string, second fret, and you're going to be shuffling with your third finger to the sharp sixth, which is your C sharp on the fourth fret of the fifth string. So the A goes for 4 bars, D goes for 2 bars, back to the A for 2 bars, 1 bar on the E, and then 1 bar on the D, and then you have 2 bars remaining on the A. And you can find this 12-bar blues on the internet, on the YouTube. So 12-bar blues Chicago Shuffle. The main thing behind the blues really is using and mixing the major and minor. So if you establish what an A major pentatonic shape looks like, so you're going to have your pinky starting. So we all kind of know this A minor pentatonic shape, right? When we have this 8 on the 6th string, which is the E, 5 to 8, and then fifth string 5, 7, fourth string 5, 7, third string 5, 7, second string 5, 8, and then first string 5, 8. So that's your kind of minor pentatonic, right? So if you take that exact same shape and then you shift that down to the second fret, but you're going to instead start with your first finger, you're going to start with your pinky on the 5th fret. So now it's going to be 6th string, 5th fret, 5th string, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 4th string, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 3rd string, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 2nd string, 2nd fret, 5th fret, and then 1st string, 2nd fret, 5th fret. So this is an A major pentatonic shape. Okay, so if you mix this A major and right away play an A minor, you can pretty much hear the definition of what blues is mixing that major and minor. So the only two notes that are different from the minor pentatonic scale to the major is the C sharp and the F. So those are two elements that you can mix with your minor to give it that bluesy sound. So you're mixing the major and minor. So over the one chord, we have the one chord, which is the A, and here's a really, really common lick that I like using over this blues Chicago shuffle. So right away you're going to mix minor and major, so you're going to play the 5th fret of the G string, and that's your C natural, and then you're going to do a hammer on to the C sharp. So that right away is a bluesy kind of feel. Minor, which is your C natural, major, which you're deriving from this major pentatonic shape. So C natural, C sharp, so minor and major. Then you play the 5th fret of the B string, then the 7th fret of the B string, and then the high E string, 5th fret. So, and that right away gives it that bluesy shuffle feel over top of the. And that's kind of the speed that you want. And then you want to toggle back and forth between that F sharp on the B string back to the A. And then what I like to do is use this B, which is on the 7th fret, which is part of your major scale, pentatonic scale. So that B is on the 4th fret of the G string, right? So you want to use that B on the 7th fret of the high E string and bend it up to the C natural. So. And that gives it that really, really nice bluesy sound. So. And then you want to do this hammer on from the E to the F sharp on the B string, hit the high E string, right? And then I like to do this little bluesy thing, which I go for, and this is about to go to the D chord. Then you're going to slide from the 4th to the 5th fret, which is B to C, and then come back to the B and then hit the A. And now it's on the D chord, right? On the 4 chord. So on the A, and then D, right? And then you're on your D chord. So now you're kind of in this major pentatonic shape when you're on the D chord. And like I like to use the 4th and 3rd string when I'm over top of the D. And then bend from the B, which is the 6th of the D chord, and bend up to the C, which is the 7th. So if you think of the D major chord, the D7, it goes D, F sharp, A, and then the 7th is B. So you can use all those notes in your licks. So, and it works really nicely in this A major pentatonic shape, right? Then you go back to the A chord, and then you can just basically come down your blues pentatonic scale, you know, and then at that point you can use kind of some E7 licks. So the 4 notes in an E7 chord is E, G sharp, B, so your root E, 3rd is G sharp, B is your 5th, and then D is your 7th. So there's many different things that you can do for this over the E chord. So one of them is you can play an E7 arpeggio. So you can have the 7th fret of the A string, 6th fret of the D string, then the 9th fret of the D string. So that's your root, 3rd, G sharp, and then B, which is your 5th. And then you can play the D, which is the 7th of the chord, on the 7th fret of the G string. So, and if you have time, you can get to the E back to the root. So, and then the thing about going from the 5 to the 1 chord is you could do the exact same licks, just down 2 frets. So then you just play the same arpeggio shape, 5th fret of the 5th string, which is your D, a 4th fret of the 4th string, F sharp, 7th fret of the 4th string, which is your A, and then 5th fret, which is your C on the G string. So that would work really over the 5 and then to the 1, which is kind of like the turnaround, right? So you got the E, D, back to the A. So over that E, D, and then you're back to the A. And then end it off with just a nice pentatonic sort of pattern. So, and there's another cool lick that I like doing as well over that E to D sort of turnaround section. So another lick that I really like using is sliding your second finger from the 8th to the 9th fret. And that's G to G sharp. Again, that's that minor to major element, but this is over the E7 chord. So you got G natural, which is the 3rd. You slide it up to the major, which is G sharp, and then you play the high E string on the 7th fret, and you do that like 3 times. And the 7th fret is your B, which is the 5th of the chord. So, and then again, you just do that down 2 frets. And then you're in your A pentatonic, so then the chords over the A. Come back to the A chord. So those are a couple cool, and another lick that I like doing over the 1 chord is, of course, we can always use that F sharp because we're in the main riff in this Chicago Shuffle, where that F sharp, that sharp 6 is a prominent part of the progression. So here's another, this is called kind of like the B.B. King box here. So you're around the 10th fret position, and you want to play the 11th fret of the G string, and that's your F sharp, and then you want to play the 10th fret of the A string. So you can kind of go back and forth, right? And then what I like to do is slide from the 12th to the 14th fret, which is your B to C sharp, right? And then you play the high E string 12th fret, so. And then you slide backwards from the C sharp to the B, and then play the 10th fret and the 11th fret of the G string. Okay, and then you can do a D major arpeggio right here. So then you play the 11th fret of the G string, 10th fret of the B string, so that's F sharp, A, then you play the high E string, D, so now we're on a D chord. So playing the 11th fret G string, 10th fret B string, and then high E string, 10th fret. So, and then the 13th fret of the B string, and that's the 7th of the chord. So you got the 3rd, which is the F sharp, A, which is the 5th, D, which is your root, and then the 7th, which is your C. So, okay, and then you can kind of come down this minor to major mixture. So you got the C natural on the 8th fret, you do a hammer on to the 9th fret, so on the high E string. Then you land on the A on the B string, 10th fret. And then do a pull off to the 8th fret, which is your G, and then slide from the 9 to the 7, and then do a pull off to the 5. So, and land on the 7th fret of the D string, which is your A. So that's a really, really cool thing to do. Now there's one other really cool idea that I like using, and I'll use it in the example, and it's called sixths. So when you're on your 4 chord or the 5 chord, I like using this over the 5 chord. I use this, it's kind of a country sort of blues riff. So you're going to play the 4th string of the 6th fret of the 4th string, which is your G sharp. Then you're going to play the 5th fret of the B string, which is your E. And you want to kind of use chicken picking when you're doing that. So you're going to use your pick on the 4th string and then your middle finger on the B string. So, and then you're going to go 7 and 7 on the same 2 strings. And then you're going to kind of go up chromatically. So 8 and 8 on the same 2 strings. And then 9 and 9. So on the 4th string, it's 6th fret. 2nd string, it's 5th fret. So that's your G sharp and then your E. And then you just, on the same 2 strings, go up chromatically. So 7 and 7 on the D and B string. 8 and 8, 9 and 9. And that works really well over the E chord. And then that gets you into position for the D7 shape that I just showed. And then you're back to your A chord. So there you go. That's a lot of blues information there that you can utilize. And like I said, there's a backing track on YouTube called the Chicago Blues Shuffle in A. And I also have a blues book that I wrote. And it's called Blues Guitar in Your Hand. So this is on Amazon. So if anybody wants to check this out and make a purchase of this on Amazon, I believe it's only $25, but it's got all the information that you could ever possibly need for blues improvisation. It shows all your scales, shows a bunch of licks in there. It's very valuable. And please go check it out, and thank you for subscribing and liking this channel, which it helps me make more videos for your enjoyment, entertainment, and education. Have a good one. Cheers.